Alright everybody, today we got a weird one. Alright everybody, today we're going all the way back to 1990 to look at Nightbreed, a little comedy, horror, satirical something or other. I don't know, it doesn't make a difference. But you know what we do. Before we go any further, before we dig into this gem anymore, once and again, and as always, to the trailer.
Who's buried in Midian?
Ain't nothing but dead folk.
Somewhere, hidden from sight, closer than you might think, is a place that's not on any map. Midian.
Something's breeding there.
It looks a lot like hell, but they call it home.
There goes the neighborhood.
They're not pretty. They're not neighborly.
You'll come back now, you hear?
They're not even human. But this time, they're the good guys. From the imagination of Clive Barker comes Nightbreed.
You can't go down there!
They have only one enemy. A beast called man, sworn to destroy the Nightbreed.
Sounds like we're going head-to-head with the devil himself.
And only one chance. A man called Boone.
It's time to fight! Go get 'em, boys! I'll kill you all! What chance have we got? They're armed. So am I.
Out of your deepest fears and your darkest fantasies, Clive Barker brings you a startling new breed of adventure. I won't let you down. Nightbreed. At last, the night has a hero.
Outstanding.
Okay everybody, this motion picture was directed by Clive Barker. Really, more of a writer, not really much of a director, but did a few things. Of course, we're talking Lord of Illusions. We're talking Hellraiser, and a couple of shorts, you know, Salome, and The Forbidden, and whatever. It doesn't make a difference. He's not much of a director. He's more of a writer, story guy, producer, whatever, call it what you will. But he directed those. Okay, playing Boone, Craig Sheffer. Let's take a look. We're talking about he was in things like A River Runs Through It, Some Kind of Wonderful, and Bliss, and The Program, and Eye of the Storm, and The Road Killers, and Deep Core, and Shadow of Doubt. He was on TV in One Tree Hill, and he was in a little classic that you know I love, Fire in the Sky, which I actually think was his best work, man. Remember Dallas? No, whatever. It is what it was. Let's keep moving. Playing Dr. Decker, David Cronenberg. What? Yes, the director, David Cronenberg. He actually did some acting stuff. Let's get rolling. He was in little things like Moonshine Highway, and The Stupids, and Late Night, and even popped up in his own The Fly, and The Grace of God, and Resurrection, and Jason X, and he was on TV, you know, Star Trek Discovery, Slasher. So obviously we all know he is a director, and that's how we'll always remember him, but he did some acting work. Go figure. Playing Laurie and Bobby. Who? Right. But we'll get going anyway. Of course, she popped up in little teeny things like Born on the 4th of July, and she was also in The Juror, and Comfortably Numb, and Happiness, and on TV. Law and Order, As the World Turns, Cop Rock. Oh my God. Famous just for being Cop Rock. And she actually went on to do tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of voice work in video games. So, made a comfortable living doing that. Is what it is. Playing Captain Eigerman, Charles Haight. Now, mostly a TV guy. We're going to run off some TV stuff. Most famously, he is known for his long time work in Hill Street Blues. But he did some other stuff. We're talking about he popped up on Kung Fu and Wonder Woman and Murder, She Wrote and Third Watch and BJ and the Bear. And he actually did a fair amount of directing. So, there you go. As you have it, you'll recognize his face once you see him in this thing. And there's also a few other names and faces that pop up, so let's just run through them really quick. We're talking about people like Hugh Ross, you know, TV guy, popped up in stuff like Between the Lines and Outlander. And Hugh, and I'm not going to butcher his last name, Quarshie, I don't know, but he was in Highlander and The Phantom Menace, is what it is. Another name I'm going to totally shit on, Catherine Chevalier, I guess, Hellbound 2, and Stormy Monday, and of course, Doug Bradley, who basically we all know as being Pinhead himself. So, anyway you cut it, there's a little bit of faces, a little bit of names, some you'll recognize, lots you won't, is what it is, let's keep moving. Okay, everybody, we're going to do this in 90 seconds or less, so we can keep it short, keep it fast, keep it entertaining, keep it moving, so we get to a much rather be the summation. Let's roll. You got this guy Boone, right? He's having these nightmares. It is what it is. It's part of his life. Anyway, he's got this cute little rock and roll girlfriend, and they're all happy and in love and all this other shit. Well, before you know it, he gets a call from his old doctor and says, Boone, you haven't been in to see me for a while. I think you should. So he goes in, he visits the doctor that used to treat him for such nightmares, and the doctor says, around town, there's been some shit going down. Some murders, and I think you might have something to do with it because the murders sound exactly like the dreams you used to describe me. Boone is like, what? It can't be me. No way. He's freaking out. The doctor gives him a bunch of drugs, says, get the hell out of my office. Yeah, just the way it goes. So anyway, he leaves. He thinks the meds are supposed to help him, but they're not. They've got him all looped up. They've got him all messed up. He's having these hallucinations. He's tripping or whatever the hell's going on. Before you know it, winds up in the hospital. In the hospital, he meets another guy, and this guy says to him, oh, I see the same monsters. I have the same dreams. They're in Midian, and they're waiting for us. Crazy shit. Then the guy peels himself. Whatever. It doesn't make much of a difference. So anyway, Boone tails it out of there. He goes and he checks out this place, Midian, where he runs into some monsters. One of them bites him on the shoulder. Is what it was. Before you know it, after that, oh yeah, the doctor shows up with the cops. He says, hey, Boone's got a gun. Boone doesn't have a gun. Boone gets blasted into oblivion. Killed. Murdered. The whole 9 yards. They take his body back to the morgue, but you know, Boone, he's kind of immortal now because he's been bitten. Long story short, he's out of there and off to Midian. Before you know it, his girlfriend goes to look for him because she's like, where did the body go? I love him. Oh, I have to find him. Is what it was. You get the idea. She goes off to look for him. She finds Midian. She runs into all these monsters. The doctor comes behind to see what's going on. He breaks into the scene. Ooh, all of a sudden, Boone, who meets all the monsters and says, oh, I'm going to live with you. I'm going to live with you. But I got to break the rules and go help my little rock and roll girlfriend because she's about to get killed by my psychopathic doctor, who is really a serial killer and blamed it all on me. There you go. You get the idea. There's more to it after that. It goes into this whole thing with the townspeople trying to kill the monsters and the monsters trying to run from the town people and blah, 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 blah. Is what it was. I can't get into it any more than that. Okay, everybody, does Nightbreed work? Well, that all depends on what you expect from it. We'll get to it. Now let's get the big three out of the way. First off, the directing. Yeah, it's kind of pedestrian at best. I mean, a lot of times this feels like you're watching a soap opera. It feels like you're watching an 80s high-value soap opera, but a soap opera nonetheless. I mean, the look of the movie, which I'll get into in a moment, doesn't lend any help. But let's just say soap opera quality directing. The writing, it's okay. It's not bad. Not great, but it's not bad. Keep in mind the kind of motion picture this is. This isn't War and Peace or something. You know what I mean? War and Peace. I'm thinking of a book. It doesn't make a difference. This thing isn't amazing, but it gets you from point A to point B. So the writing is never so bad that it shocks and pulls you out of the movie, but it's nothing you're going to remember. And the acting, well, you know, you got some competent people in here, but they're just working with what they're working with, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Some of it is okay. Hey, Cronenberg is scary as hell as the doctor. He's got this aura and this look and this vibe around him, so he really, really works. Craig Sheffer, he's doing what he does, and he does it fairly well. It moves along with all the acting in it, but don't expect too much. Okay, let's get back on track to why this motion picture might kind of work, might not kind of work. It all depends on what you go into it. You got to keep in mind, when I saw this motion picture, I didn't really know that I was going into something that was kind of a comedy, satirical type thing. I thought it was a straight up horror flick. I didn't see the poster that you're probably seeing in the corner right now, where it has, like, you know, him standing with all the guys. I just seen Nightbreed and all that. I said, oh, I got to watch this. And for the first hour, I'm saying to myself, this has got to be the worst fucking horror movie I've ever seen. There's no suspense. There's no drama. I don't know where this is going. It doesn't make any sense to me. And the motion picture basically has a really, 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 really for shit look. I mean, you can tell when it's a matte painting just thrown on the screen. It just jumps out at you really, really bad. Every set kind of looks like it was just thrown together from stuff that you get at a Spirit Halloween shop or something. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, cardboard, you know, styrofoam tombstones and big styrofoam rocks. This is all shot in a set. I can see it. None of this looks real. This looks cheesy as fuck. I get where I'm going. And basically, all the monsters, demons, horror things in his dreams or in personality, it's funhouse stuff. Everybody comes out and jumps at you doing funhouse shit. Woogie, 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 and all that kind of stupid shit. I mean, so you're like, okay, it looks like they got their costume design shit from Spirit or on Amazon for Halloween. Somebody put it on fairly well, and then they're just going to run around in front of you, go, woogie, woogie, woogie. Ooh, watch me tap the wall. Watch me tap the wall. I'm spooky. Oh. And you're like, Jesus, God, this movie is shit. But then it made a shift. And when you start to hit the part where all like the sheriff and the townspeople come in, and you're so in, is this a real horror movie mode? You're like, no, this isn't. This is a gag. This is a satire. This is a put-on. This is just a fun, humor-ridden, if it has a lot of it, motion picture. And then you start to view it in a different light. Now, if you watch the trailer for it in the beginning of this, which I had never seen before I seen the movie, you kind of got where this thing was going, so you would expect as much. But for me, the first time I seen it, all I seen was Nightbreed. Title got me, and I watched the motion picture. And it was radically different than what I thought I was going to get, until I got what it was. Again, as you're watching this, if you go in uninitiated by the trailer, you're going to sit there and say, this is just for shit. I don't get it at all. But as it rolls on, you start to say, I see what they were trying to do, I see what they were trying to get at, and I see where they were trying to go, and I get the kind of satirical boy and girl kissing in the moonlight on the hill, and the monsters and the cops that were all deranged, and the people from the town that were all just there with it. You get where it was kind of going. In a way, it feels like a bizarre episode of Stranger Things. And there's actually things in here, I swear to God, I think they actually took and put in Stranger Things. But that's where you're going. It's like an adult version of a weird episode of Stranger Things, freaked out a little bit by the X-Files, and then made into a comedy movie with a Napoleon Dynamite sense of what the hell is going on here and around me. Now, that said, I'm not saying they pulled off the satirical thing perfectly. I'm not saying the comedy in this shit will make you laugh and crack up and die laughing and, you know, saying, oh my God, this is just so brilliant. But you do understand where they were going. You do understand what they were trying to do. And you do understand what they were getting at. So, if you keep it in that light, depends on where your head's at. A couple things I got to point out too. One, the soundtrack. I know it's Danny Elfman, but this is not what I would call one of his better works. Maybe the music was fine, actually, and it would have worked in something else. But at times it was so over the top and overbearing, and I get it, you know, he was just trying to make it into the comedy, goofy, fucking Edward Scissorhands type of world that this thing kind of would almost land in. But sometimes it was almost distracting. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. And it sounded weirdly mixed. Like sometimes you hear more of the soundtrack than you would the goddamn dialogue. But here's what it was. Gotta take it as it is. And secondly, like I pointed out earlier, you have to get over the complete cheesiness looking of this motion picture. I mean, it's just, it looks bad. Every set is just cheap. Every shot when they're in the cemeteries just looks like, oh my God, this looks like it was shot in a fun house type of thing. So, those two things don't bode well for the look of the motion picture or the mood of the motion picture. But again, this picture's so goddamn weird. It is what it is. All right, everybody. If you want to have yourself a okay night at the motion pictures, throw in something like, Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase and Demi Moore, and this will almost feel like you're living in that weirdo, what were they thinking, what were they doing kind of world. You know what I mean? A lot of prosthetics, a lot of goofy shit. Is it a comedy? Is it not? Is it just so weird feeling? I don't know how to laugh. You're going to get that kind of a vibe. So put in Nothing But Trouble. As it gets a little bit later, put in something like this. And then at the end of the night, reward yourself with something really classic like Student Bodies and have yourself a good time. In the end, give this thing a look. Don't think you're going to get blown away. You're not. But I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot more better executed for what it was trying to be. But it is what it is. And it's a night at the flicks. Anyway, be good. Take care. Stay out of trouble. Be kind to a stranger. Be there for a friend. But never, and I mean ever, ever take any bullshit from anybody. See you soon.